level drops to, for want of a better term, the red level. I believe I think it's green until you get down to 50%, yellow till you get down to 25%, and then red from there onwards. So as soon as you got it, basically saying, hey, you're running low on fuse, you might want to consider feeding your animals. Kind of heads up. I think it does report some other stuff, but I can't remember what. Oh, if you walk into a silage bunker, it would tell you how much silage you have, or how long it's going to be before it's ready, or something like that. I think it was that. If you walked next to the digestate tank in the BGA, it would tell you how much there is currently stored in it, and the percentage, much like, you know, I've got 14,000 litres and 32% of the auger wagon is filled. The glance mod in FS17 would tell you how much digestate you have and what the percentage fill level was. All very useful stuff. And obviously very useful in multiplayer when it tells you, you know, if everybody's got it running, you can see at a glance which of the harvesters is closest to needing emptying, and you can run over there and empty it. In single player, especially with this sort of size of equipment, not quite so easy. If I was running 2 harvesters here, I suppose I can empty each harvester, or I can empty one harvester 3 times, so I could service 3 harvesters, but it would be empty one, empty the next one, empty the third one. Now I've got to go and do something with what's in the back of this chaser bin. Another mod I have on active at the moment, which obviously you can't see at the moment, is the Measure Helper, which is much like the Farm Sim 17 Measure mod, except it is possible to switch it between feet and meters. I'm not sure I can remember how to do that, but let's pull this up. If I jump out here, I think it's there. So pressing Alt and the right mouse button brings up, basically it puts a marker right there, and as I move away it tells me I'm 8.13 meters away from it, I'm 14.8 meters away from it, and then I can turn it off. Okay, pressing the middle mouse button changes it to feet. So 20 feet, 41 feet, etc. So that's a expansion on the helper, or the measure mod from 17. Use that quite frequently for when I'm doing tree felling. I generally don't use the heavy duty logging equipment because I'm not a professional logger. I'm a you know, in game I am a professional farmer, if you like, so I'm producing arable crops and selling them, and but I will chop down trees that A, get in my way, or B, can make me money on the side while I'm waiting for my crops to grow, or something like that. And so all I need is a chainsaw, a tractor with a front loader and front loader forks, and a short wheelbase log frame. And so that serves me quite well. And like some people enjoy sitting around and stacking bales on trailers. I enjoy sitting around and stacking logs on the back of a logging trailer, because it takes slightly less finesse to drop logs into a log trailer than it does to drop bales on the back of a bale trailer, especially with some of the physics involved. And constantly knocking bales off the back of the trailer and everything else. But logs, because logging trailers have great big forks on each side that hold the logs on the back of the trailer, you don't generally have a problem with them all falling off. The only time I've had problems with logs falling off is when I'm tearing along the street and take a corner too fast and then the truck rolls, and then we have a problem with logs falling off the back of the trailer. But we also have a problem with the trailer being on its side and all the problems that entails. Now, I do believe there is an auto-load logging trailer. And I can't remember whether it was Mr. Seeley P or Farmer Klein that was using it on one of their maps, and I'm pretty sure it was on the Michigan map. He was chopping down trees on the northwestern side of the map, up near the BGA. And the logging trailer he used was quite a long one, and had when you could set the point in which the logs loaded on the back of the trailer. And so if you cut sort of 7-meter logs, you could stick a stack of 7-meter logs at the front of the trailer and then another stack at the back of the trailer. And the auto load, basically you just had to position the auto load to load sort of 3.5 meters from the front, or probably about 11 meters from the front. Okay, it wasn't him. So it might have been Farmer Klein, one of his earlier FS19 playthroughs. Yeah, of course, Seeley. Yeah, you wouldn't get an auto-load logging trailer on console either. But yeah, so there is one out there, and it did seem to work fairly well, and I don't know where he got it. Oh, I do know where he got it from. Well, okay. I know of the place he got it from because I went to the website because I thought, yeah, I like that. I'll try it. I'll download it. And they insisted that you register for their website. So I did. And they said, hey, we just sent you an email. You need to click on the link on that email in order to confirm your account. So, okay, no problems. And I sat there and I waited for about 3 hours and the email never showed up. Now, I have problems with my email provider, who generally doesn't allow emails from some quarters to get through to my inbox. And I'm rather annoyed with them because one of the sites they've decided to block is Twitch. So I don't get any of my Twitch notifications through my primary email address. However, yeah, that's just another thing. But because I couldn't register for that particular website, I couldn't get the logging trailer. Oh, Glance is available in FS17, FS19? I have not come across Glance. Yes, no, Vehicle Inspector. That's what we were talking about earlier, and that's what I am running. I'm presuming it's the same thing as Glance was, but it's produced by a different person. It's like GPS isn't called GPS because the guy who wrote GPS has quit doing stuff for FarmSim, and the new GPS is being written by the same guy who's on the Seasons team. And yeah, there's issues if you call your mod the same as someone else's, unless it's a piece of farming equipment. You can usually get away with that. Okay, this will... Oops, drifting too far. The problem with this auger trailer is it's so long, it's very difficult to hold the line. Am I full? I'm full. That's why nothing's happening. Okay. So yes, thanks for that. Who's that? Picatrix. What I'm waiting for as far as logging is concerned is something like the BioBelts log fork that was out in 17, which has 2 prongs on the top, 2 prongs on the bottom, so it grabs the log and there's far less flexing, if you like. The problem with the 3-prong fork that you can get in-game is if you don't pick up a log right in the middle, it causes an imbalance and the log will tip, and it can force the log forks open so that you end up dropping what you're trying to carry. And even the telehandler log forks are only 3-prong as well. So yeah, if we actually got our hands on a 4-prong log fork, I would buy one. And I may take up logging at least semi-professionally in FarmSim, but right now, not happening thing. And thanks for the cheer, Lania. Hang on, Lanina. Okay, Lanina. I hope I'm saying that right. Could be an eye at the front. I need bigger screen. My eyes are getting old. I'm getting old. Okay, I think that's going to fill the truck completely. So... Oh, now I'm going to have to drive down the street and turn around. Should probably have done that. Go. But we're slowly getting stuff, and like I said at the beginning of the stream, it looks like Follow Me is close to being produced. It was listed on the announcement on Monday to say it's being tested by Giants. Unfortunately, by lunchtime it wasn't on the list anymore, so I'm guessing it failed to pass testing. But it's probably not far off being released, and there will be a lot of very happy people. Because I would put the 920 in its auger wagon following the harvester. So I can do this and empty the harvester. I don't have to worry about the harvester getting filled up before I get back. There we go. The auger wagon is on the mod hub. Yes, the manure clamps are about the best option at the moment for picking up logs, which is a bit of a shame. Turn, so just jackknife the truck, and there we go. Yeah, I think apart from the measure mod, or the measure helper, and the vehicle inspector, and the Valtra tractors, and Maypole Farm, everything else I'm running is on the main in-game mod hub. The Valtra tractors and Maypole Farm are on FS-UK. And I have no idea where I think the real clock actually did get released on the mod hub after I'd gone out and found it. So as soon as it was released on the mod hub, I switched over to using the mod hub version. And vehicle inspector, I can't for the life of me remember where I found that. For the most part, I've been using auger wagons for in-field seed and fertilizer replenishment, because it's easier to load an auger wagon with seed than it is to load a flatbed trailer and then strap them down. Plus you can fit a lot more seed into an auger wagon than you can onto the back of a flatbed trailer. And it's only very recently I've actually started using auger wagons to do the collection from a harvester. It is, especially on a map this sort of size, probably more realistic than on Lawfolds. My auger wagon can hold far more than a pair of tippers can. Yes, although I have to use the mouse, it's not working off my joystick. But it has a full range of movement. That's pressing the right mouse button and then moving the mouse left and right. Okay. And then pressing the left mouse button, moving it left and right, alters the angle of the nozzle. Then if I fold it back up, when I unfold it, it'll reset back to normal position. Yeah, on Farm Sim 17 it works off, I've got the Satex side panel, and it actually works off the joystick on there, but it's not working off of this one. And it's probably because of I had a whole bunch of mapping issues with Farm Sim 19, and so some stuff just doesn't work properly, or as I would like it to, as I got used to it working in Farm Sim 17. Now, I don't have the Cytec steering wheel, which to my mind is a little bit more useful than any other steering wheels for farm sim, because it's got the two sort of thumb joysticks on the steering wheel. One of them I believe altered the direction you're looking in, and the other one was used when you got out of the tractor. You press it forwards, you would walk forwards, back, left and right. So using both of them, you could turn and walk forwards and turn, and that was really kind of handy. Unfortunately, I had a lot of issues with the Cytec steering wheel, so much so that I had to call technical support, and they told me to destroy the old one and they'd send me a new one, and take a photo proof that I destroyed it. So I did, and they sent me a new one, and it failed in exactly the same way. Both wheels lasted 2 weeks each, and I was waiting for the second wheel to turn up for 4 weeks. And at that point I said, yeah, when the second one failed, I just said, I'm not going to bother saying, hey, I've got this problem again, please send me a new wheel again, because the way I'm batting, I'm probably going to end up with another wheel that doesn't work 2 weeks after plugging it into my PC. So I'm kind of done with it. I went and bought myself a G29, and they had just come down in price by probably about 40%. But they don't have the little joysticks that you can walk around with. But I mapped it up as for something I'm used to now, and I'm happy with the mappings I have on the steering wheel. And then of course when FS19 comes out, it has a whole host of problems with steering wheel and side panel mapping. I think so much so that I actually had to reset the mapping entirely. So basically plug in all the equipment, start farm sim, go to the key mapping screen, and basically say, yeah, reset everything, clear it all. And then I had to go through and I had to map each key individually, and it wouldn't take double key presses. So that made emptying stuff a little bit of a problem. I had to reach over and push B or whatever it is, Y, to unload things. And then patch 1.1 came out and completely reset everything back to what they thought it should be that didn't work. So I then had to clear out all of the keyboard mappings again and reinstate them. And I haven't been back to reinstate them since, because fortunately patch 1.2 and 1.3 hasn't messed up the keyboard map. But it's not the best way, it's not as best as I would like it. But at least I can unload using the Cytec side panel these days. Either unload to ground or unload to a receptor. That whole escapade really annoyed me for quite some time. And because of the mapping, I still haven't been able to complete the logging tutorial, because I had to totally destroy the mapping for the the truck crane that lifts logs off the ground. It's sort of, yes, that doesn't work for me. It was that, and then it was also the tree cutting thing where you That'll annoy me if I don't. Forestry machineries. Not that. I couldn't get that crane to work. Or actually it was that crane, I think, on the tutorial. And I couldn't get this thing to work either. I can't remember whether it was that one or whether it was one of these, Komatsu or the Scorpion King. But basically I could not get these to work. None of the keyboard mapping was setting up correctly, and so I just said, okay, fine, I'm not going to complete that tutorial. And to this date I still haven't. But not an issue, because I generally don't use that sort of equipment for logging when I do any. At the moment I'm mostly chopping trees up into short manageable lengths and picking them up by hand. Because that kind of works sufficiently for me. You don't make much money selling hand-sized pieces of wood. But generally I'm doing it because I want the tree out the way, not because I want to make a ton of money chopping down trees. I was a little bit upset that they don't have the little chipper, which was almost completely worthless, because you could only run small, very, very, very small trees through it. But I wish I had it, because on Mercury farms you can chop down the fence posts. And what I wanted to do was to feed the little fence posts through a little chipper that only cost me £10,000. And I think the cheapest chipper is about 80. So a little bit of overkill for basically selling a bunch of fence posts for as much as I can get for it. As it was, I chopped out an entire row of fence posts and ended up making just under £2,000 selling them all. Chop down another 2 rows and that'll pay for the chainsaw and what did I buy? Oh, the stump grinder. Because obviously the reason I want to chop down fences is so that I can eventually take a plough to the area and plough a couple of fields together. Chipping was something I got into in a big way on Old Street Farm in Farm Sim 17, because there were so many small trees right along the edge of fields that even with a small harvester you run along trying to harvest a field and it's constantly crashing into the low limbs on the trees. It was just a case of, right, those trees are down, and I got a chainsaw and I got a wood chipper and I just chopped them all up. Probably sold about 7 million litres of wood chips in the course of that particular playthrough. And then when I went with law folds, I just said, okay, well, I've done the chipping thing in a major way, so maybe this time I'll chop down trees. And on that playthrough I'm playing with seasons and I'm closing out the 5th year. And I've chopped down over 470 trees and replanted them all, which takes a little bit of dedication. But at the time it was at a time where I wasn't even capable of streaming with the PC I was using at the time. So I would sit there and basically chop down the trees using the measure mod, chop them into 6-metre lengths and then spend a couple of hours loading them onto a logging trailer while watching farm sim YouTube videos. And it was kind of a nice relaxing thing you could do while, you know, whilst watching people play farm sim. I did get quite good at it, or at least quite quick at it. So this one will put us up to 44%. So in theory, or potentially should I say, 9 loads of the truck could yield us with the 100% of the contracted crop amount. Okay, that's empty. No, wrong way. That's needs 5,000 more. That's unfortunate. Excuse me. Of course, the question is am I doing 11% per trip to the store, or am I doing 11.11111111%, which will put us at 100% in 9 trips. Guess we'll find that out eventually. Still a load of crop down at that other end. The nice thing about big harvesters is they are kind of quick. So I will be able to go back and collect the bits we missed quite quickly. So the tiny starter harvesters run really slowly. I mean, you're talking their drive speed isn't much faster than their harvest speed. Yes. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff. The thing that gets me actually is a lot of times the trucks you get for contracts. On Felsbrunn you got the American style long nose trucks, and on Ravensport I was typically ending with the Tatra or the MAN trucks, and it's sort of, you know, give me a truck in the style of the map I'm driving on. And they did that with the housing. Yeah, there's the Felsbrunn house and there's the Ravenport house. And then there's the really expensive Estancia Lapacho mansion. But there isn't yeah, they don't make the same segregation with the vehicles. That's the other thing. Most of the in-game tractors are European style. They're not American. Now, not that that's such a big issue for me because I play predominantly European or British maps. I would like to have a truck that had a right wheel steer, because it's kind of annoying driving around British maps with the steering wheel on the wrong side of the truck, both pickup trucks and main tractor trailer rigs. But yeah. I did that wrong. Can't believe I just did that. Let's try that one again. There we go. Oh. Now I must admit I haven't used the MAN hook lift truck. I did load, where is it? So those are our regular trucks. So that's the one they just... Is that? Yeah, that's the one that came on the mod hub recently. And I have these two hook lift trucks, which says there by... Yeah, I can't read that because it's tiny writing. But once again, I believe it was Farmer Klein that did a mod review on these two. And he pronounced Scania wrong, but I'll forgive him for that. But he did give the links to them, so I downloaded these two probably a month or two ago now. I haven't used them, but he did, and they seemed to behave themselves quite well. And he did end up loading them up with a tipper and then filling it up and driving it round really quickly just to make sure that the attachment stayed where it was supposed to, and it did. So were I going to use a truck for hook lift, I would probably use the Scania. Helper B has completed their task. I think Helper B's pants are on fire. Just a feeling I have. So, they should put us to 44%. The next load will be the telling one, because that will either put us to 55 or 56%, depending on whether it rounds nicely or not. Right. 44%. Whoops. Come on. Really? That is annoying. I can't swing it wide as I'm coming out in order to avoid the fence when I do this. Then I have to doink the truck in order to get it out of that shed because of the fencing in the way. Well, we will live with it for now. We've still got to finish this field off, and I am now getting to the point where I should probably be calling it a day. We'll swing about, unload the auger, and then run the auger down to the harvester and get that unloaded. Oh, actually the harvester stopped, didn't it? Okay. So I'll pull up alongside and let it do that. Stop that. So you think you're finished, huh? Just drive over my crop, shall I? Yeah, I think this particular mod has some issues. Does get dirty, which is more than SMT's Class Axion did in Farm Sim 17. Yeah, I didn't use the hook lift stuff in Farm Sim 17 until there was a hook lift truck. I remember I put the 45,000 litre skip on the back, loaded it up with grain, went running off to the sell point and rolled it and lost the entire load. It's the problem with hook lift type equipment is the centre of gravity is much higher because the tipper frame is not part of the truck, it's part of the attachment, and obviously the attachment has to attach to the truck somehow, so there is weight for the attaching mechanism and the rails that the attachment runs along, but it can mean that you have to be much more careful than you would in a normal tipper. And in Farm Sim 17 I use the AR frame equipment, and that suffers pretty much the same thing. The tipper mechanism is part of the frame, and obviously the frame is sat higher on the truck chassis than a normal tipper would be, because you can drop the tipping mechanism on a tipper truck between at least between the top of the wheels, just up above the drive shaft, so it makes for a more stable vehicle. Okay, I'm going to run down this side. So that we're not having problems with the harvester running into our field, because we kind of don't want that. And I think from what I've seen of them, the American style trucks seem to be a lot more stable as well. Oh, and that reminds me, of course, on the subject of hook lifts. Of course, there is the potential that we could get a hook lift truck off Black Sheep, since they did one along with their wood chipper, the hook lift wood chipper that they produced for 17. So hopefully we might see that again, or something like that again. What's that? Something. But on maps like this, you can get away with using the big truck style that I've got here. On places like Old Stream Farm, you can get stuck real quickly with a big rig truck. Or 30-foot, 2-foot bale trailers on the back of a tractor. They can get you into big trouble. Twitch notifications, something. I think I do have a Flegel flatbed now. Oh, we're nearly full. Keep going. There we go. Where is it? Baling Technologies. No, I don't. I got that one. That's only a 20-foot. But things like that tend to work for the smaller European style maps. Yeah, logging tech. Forestry equipment. So yeah, these things. You've got the Flegel Timber Runner. In Farm Sim 17, there was one of these that was a flatbed, style. So you had the guard on the front, but none of the spikes to hold the wood on, and it was a solid flatbed. But they also brought out a single axle, very short trailer like this. And that really useful, and I'm waiting for one of those in flatbed style, so you can actually run a short truck and a very short trailer. See, these are the chippers, you're talking 60,000, 80,000. That's really expensive. There used to be a tiny one in FS17, which for the most part was completely useless. But well, you stopped there, did you? Because the edge of the field isn't straight. Great. But I do look for generally shorter equipment because of the style of maps I generally play. This map has allowed me little bit of a luxury on getting larger equipment, which you will not see me stream with very frequently. Okay, so we have still 71,000 money. It's coming up to 11 o'clock. I'm going to let this thing empty and I'm going to call it here. So thank you for watching. I'll be back tomorrow with World of Warships midweek edition. In the meantime, it looks like Arthur's just started streaming, so we're going to raid him because we always need to do that. So hold on to your hats, we're about to transfer over. And thank you for watching, and hope to see you tomorrow. Bye bye everybody.